Hey guys, so I am back with a part 2 Q&A. I knew that this video was going to be super long, so I went ahead and cut it, and I'm starting the part 2. Okay, so the next question is, what is the most challenging part of twins, and what is easier than you expected? You know what, honestly, speaking just for myself and my experience with them, I'm very fortunate that they are just good babies. They're not super fussy. They, you know, sleep a lot, and when they are awake, they can just kind of lay there and don't really need like a ton of attention. Like, they're not the type of babies where you have to hold them all the time. They're pretty like just kind of content, just kind of hanging out, so I can do a lot of things. So that is easier than expected. I read all these twin books that just were like, oh, your laundry is gonna be a nightmare, and diaper changes and feeding is gonna be awful, and just, you know, because you have 2 of them, so like double the work and everything. But I think kind of my attitude is that if you're gonna have a baby, that's a lot of work to begin with. So how much more work is it just to add another one? And again, this is just from my experience. I know some twin moms, you know, just with their schedules, and sometimes babies can be fussy, that, you know, they might have a little bit more of a challenge to it. I just think I'm very lucky that they're easy. I don't know if I could say that if they were super fussy and clingy and I had to hold on to them a lot, but like even right now, they're laying next to me, they're napping. Deacon's pacifier keeps falling out, so that's why I have to keep kind of like leaning over and putting his pacifier back in his mouth, but they're content, you know, so that's a lot easier than I thought. And was the question like what was challenging? Oh, the most challenging part. I would say probably just because I am the type of person that I need sleep. I cannot function if I don't have sleep. So probably just the first few weeks with trying to get a schedule and a routine going with them. Just them waking up a lot throughout the night to feed, and you know, they're little, so they, you know, only have or can only consume, you know, so much formula, and it wears off quickly, and then you'd have to, you know, especially in the beginning when I was giving them breast milk, that just, I mean, every hour and a half, you know, they need more milk, you know. So just that was a little tough, just because there was 2 of them to have to feed 2. Oh, hold on, here's your pacifier. Of course, Matt's a huge help, you know, but just that, you know, just being sleep deprived, I think. But they have already gotten into such a better, sorry, I'm like messing with my hair way too much. They've already gotten into such a better routine. They, like I feed them like a big bottle, or I keep saying me, but we feed them a big bottle like right before bed. And then that kind of sets the tone for the night. And they wake up probably 3.5 hours later, about like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and have another big bottle. And then they wake up again about 6. So that is a very great schedule. I can totally function with that because I'm technically only waking up once a night to feed them. I'm very okay with that. So far it's easier than I thought it was going to be. What worries me is that whenever they are mobile and they're crawling and I have to keep up with them, like right now they're laying here and they're fine, but like when they're 9 months and they're like super all over the place, crawling, climbing, like trying to walk, that's the part I'm kind of scared about. So ask me again in a few months. Okay, so the next question is, what baby step did you start integrating individual fund money into the budget, and how much did you each initially agree on getting? So when we first started budgeting, like when we were still in debt, and my husband was finally on board and we both were like working the plan, I tried to be like, no fund money, let's just like knock out the debt and like be super aggressive. He said no, because he thought that that was not a healthy way to go about, you know, if we're going to pay off this debt and we're going to both do this and we're going to be, you know, have a great attitude about it, we had to have some spending money. And he was right. I'm just unrealistically cheap about things, and he had a little bit more of a realistic like mindset about, sorry, I guess he doesn't want it, about just having money, you know, that you can't just not ever have any fund money until you pay off your debt. It's not a healthy mindset. And so we initially, I think it was only like $50. It wasn't very much money at all. And it was just just some fun money that you, if you want to go to Starbucks, if you want to go buy something, you know, whatever, just some money. And so we started that from the very beginning. Now that we're debt free, it's obviously increased quite a bit, and I think that that's healthy. You know, I've had to be talked into that. Let me put it that way. I'm always wanting to save money, and I'm always wanting to like not spend it. But I realize, and even Dave says, in order to have a healthy relationship with money, you have to do 3 different things. You have to save, you have to give, and you have to spend. And so that's something that I have had to learn, that I can't just always save and not enjoy money. So that's something that it's like, or like another thing is that like when we do our budget, I'm always trying to like tell my husband like, okay, well you can have $200 this month and I'll only have 100 or whatever. And he's like, nope, it has to be even. You have to have the same amount that I do. So that's something I've had to adapt, I guess you could say. All right, so the next question is, will you be dressing up for Halloween, and what will the boys be? Also, are you still enjoying your van? So I won't dress up. I love witches though, so if I find like a fun witch's hat, I might like wear that and just, you know, be fun with that. Connor is going to be, I think it's called the Master Chief. It's a character on that video game Halo. Ooh. And there's Jackson. And as far as the twins go, if I find like a cute little onesie set where they're like a little pumpkin or a monster or something, I'll buy that. But for the most part, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, dress them up. Next year will be like the fun year where it's like they're bigger and you can dress them up like something silly. I saw a video the other day where it was these 2 twins and they were dressed like skunks, and I thought that was the cutest thing ever. And yes, I love my van. My van, it's not necessarily the van itself, you know, because it's a minivan, I mean, let's be honest, but I just love what it represents. I love that I paid cash for it. I love that it's a vehicle that gets my family around safely. I love that it still continues to represent, you know, like our debt-free lifestyle, because it doesn't have any payments associated with it. It's got low miles on it. It's just a very cute, fun vehicle. It's not like over the top or fancy. And like I was even telling Matt the other day, we're talking about like our future and things that we want to spend money on in the future and invest in. And we were talking about vehicles, and I said, well, I'm totally content with my car. I said I could drive my van for until I can't drive it any longer, like 10 years, whatever, you know, until like I just, you know, need to upgrade the vehicle. So I'm very happy with it, very content with it. So next, it's not a question, but she says, lava cake recipe, please. So if you go onto YouTube or Google Chef John chocolate lava cake, it's his recipe. And he's awesome. He has like a million different recipes that are super tasty, and I love his YouTube channel. So that's the recipe I use, and it's really, really good. It's like better than restaurant quality good. Okay, next question is, my husband and I are on baby step 3. I feel like we lost a little motivation along the way. How do you keep yourself and your family motivated? Also, we were thinking of starting a family soon. How did you prep your family as well as your budget for the big change? So motivation is the biggest thing. Oh, don't start crying. Dave talks about this a lot, that, you know, financial, smart choices financially is 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge. We know what to do, it's just that we don't do it. And so I think for myself personally, having motivation is the biggest thing. So for us, like, we would just tune in to Dave every single day. I think, like, I just remember back to, you know, like his book, The Total Money Makeover. I would listen to it every single day, and I just would soak in that information, and I just wanted that financial piece so bad that I just would, I mean, I have probably listened to The Total Money Makeover 500 times. I'm not kidding, on audiobook. And I just would dream about like our future and like what we were gonna do with our money, like once we became debt free. And as far as starting a family, I would just look at your budget and figure out however you can, you know, fit in that baby, and try to figure out any way that you could. Of course, depending on whether or not you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom or you're gonna continue to work. I worked when I had Connor. I worked while I was pregnant with the twins. And working is great while having a family. Staying at home while having a family is great. So just try to look at your situation, I would say, and figure out the best way that you can incorporate everything. Next question is, do you plan on doing any more no spend months, or will it be tough with the twins at this time? They are so precious, by the way. Well, thank you. I do. I love no spend months. I haven't done them in a while because I've been pregnant and we've been moving and life has been happening and crazy and everything. I would like to do one maybe in January, just kind of like a no spend month. I think it's just a great way to kind of like restart and refocus, put a little bit of money towards some kind of a savings goal. I know it helps motivate you guys, so I'd like to do that as well. So maybe like the no spend January, like look out for that. yeah, I love no spend months. I think they're great. Okay, next question is, how do you budget for clothing for the kids and those types of needs? So I am kind of a minimalist when it comes to our clothing. We don't shop a lot, honestly. Like, we will buy an article of clothing and just wear it. I'm not into fashion at all. As you can see from my videos, I'm kind of like a simple person in the sense of like clothing. I'm a wannabe minimalist. So when it comes to clothing, I just kind of buy what I need and wear it. It's like even this, for example, this little like workout, you know, shirt. It's Under Armour, so it's a nice brand. So I probably paid like 50 bucks for it, but it's like the only, like I have this one and then I have like a gray one from Old Navy. And that's like my workout attire. I don't spend money on that kind of stuff, but when I do, I typically tend to buy like more quality so that I can rewear it like over and over and over again. That's kind of my like system. So lately, like if we need something, we take it out of like our household budget, because like the way our system is right now with like our bank, we don't have a lot of options for like having multiple accounts like for sinking funds. Our old bank I had like 12, but with our new bank I can only have like 3 accounts for sinking funds, and so a lot of things are grouped together. So we just like for our clothing fund, you know, it kind of goes into like household, you know, expenses. And so yeah, like we'll just take money from there. For Connor, for back to school, we just bought him a really nice pair, oh no, of tennis shoes, because we'll buy one pair that'll last him, you know, the whole year. He still wears his shoes from last year also because they still fit. And yeah, I just don't spend a ton of money in those areas, but when I do, we buy quality. And we just kind of wear the same things over and over again. And kind of the same thing with the twins. Like someone made a comment in a video or a post the other day where they said like, oh, they're always like kind of wearing the same clothing. It's like, well, because they are going to grow out of this stage, you know, so quickly, so that I only buy kind of like 2 or 3 like little sets of onesies. What's wrong? And they'll just kind of wear them over and over and over again, because by the time they wear through them, they're already moving on to the next size. Okay, next question is, if you could splurge on anything regardless of finances, what would it be? P.S. What shoes are you wearing right now? Okay, that's funny. That's a little inside joke. I'm actually wearing Crocs. Crocs are kind of my shoe of choice, like my house shoe of choice. I know a lot of people think that Crocs are lame. I love Crocs. So we are actually a Croc family. We all wear Crocs, so whatever. Actually my glasses, my prescription glasses are Croc brand also. And as far as like what I would splurge on for our family, I would say probably just like a vacation, like to Disney World, or you know, going like on a cruise or something. Like I typically will like splurge in areas like that. Like, okay, well, we only go on vacation once a year, so kind of like, let's make it count, or once every few years or whatever, like when we do a big trip. So that's the kind of thing where it's like, we're gonna go out to eat and we're gonna enjoy this trip for what it is. Like we'll have, you know, ground beef whenever we get home, but now tonight we're gonna have steak, you know. So that's my kind of attitude. It's like, I'm fine with budgeting and living frugally, and you know, frugal with making smart choices financially, but you also have to live your life, you know. So it's areas like that that I'm willing to splurge in. So I think I'm gonna wrap up this video. So this will be part 2 of the Q&A. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.